record. Misses. But we honestly wanted to get on. Aaron's going to try to hop on at the end. He had a few things he wants to share. Otherwise, he'll make a little video and pop it in the chat. But honestly, just coming back, if you guys all, I know a lot of us were in Utah, but so many of you guys were kind of joining virtually and seeing what was going on. So that conference that we were at was a leadership event for kind of like the top up and coming leaders. And so we got to just kind of hang out, connect as a team, and also just get training as we become leaders, as we are mentors to others in this business, to just become the best versions of ourselves, to give and pour to you guys. And I will just kick it off by one of the words that I've always used, like since we joined this business, was like, I'm humbled. Like I am so humbled by this business and what it's done for like our family, and just seeing what it's doing for other families is like beyond what I've seen ever. Like I've been a lot of places, I've done a lot of things, I've been rock bottom, I've felt like I've climbed out of there and reached, the top somewhere else, and then just felt like I was spiraling down again. And just like to feel so humbled 2 years into a business where I'm like, this feels right, this feels authentic, this feels genuine, this feels like the people that I'm surrounded with want me to win, want others to win, are willing to put the work in to make sure that you all get where you want to be. And so that's a really good feeling. And to just like sit here and say that we are leading a team of leaders, to see so many of you in Utah and see so many of you grinding and working your businesses, like sending messages, just saying like, I made $50, I can fill my gas tank. I made $100, I can buy groceries. Like what's going on in the world right now economically is frightening. Like honestly, I filled my gas tank and I wanted to throw up. I was like, I cannot imagine working my old job. I was a manager at a clothing store. I cannot imagine working that job, getting that paycheck that I used to get from that job, and surviving. Like my heart literally goes out to all the people that I know are working jobs and working like full days, overtime, coming home, barely seeing their families, and still feeling that gut, that pit in their stomach of like, what am I going to do? And they have no more hours in the day to get another job, and they have no more hours in the day to give, and it's still not enough, right? Like we've all probably felt that, right? When those of us that are moms, we feel that every day. Like, how am I supposed to work and keep this house clean and be a wife and the kids and the meals and the job, right? Like we all are spread so thin. Like just that feeling of like so humble to see you guys here. And just really wanting you to feel like you have a community, that there is no one at the top looking down on you, right? We are all in this walking the path together. And whether my paycheck is higher than the next person or lower than the next person, that we are all in a trench going this because we know that there's a greater thing involved in this business, right? Than me just making a rank, or Nicole making a rank, or Abby making a rank, that we are all in this together to succeed and win together. For the next person to see your story, I want that so badly, for you to be able to share your story, and the next person online, whether it be Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, to see your story and be inspired by that change that you're making. Because they're not going to see my story. They're not all going to see Nicole's story or Abby's story or Audrey's story. They're going to see your story. Someone online today is probably feeling that pit in their stomach, like, I worked all day and I still can't put gas in the car, or I worked all day and I still can't freaking afford the groceries right now in the grocery store. Someone is feeling that, right? It's not a matter. I remember sitting 2 years ago and our friends that we enrolled with saying, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when those circumstances happen. And we had no idea what was around the corner, right? We were joining February 2020. We had no idea what was going to go on in the world. Okay. And we gave away our entire income to join this business. And that was because we trusted in something bigger that was calling us to a place of something that we just trusted fully in. We didn't know what was going to happen. And in 2 years, we've seen people trust us the same way. I remember a conversation with Nicole. She was kind of like, what is this business? Like, I've tried other things. I don't know. And we're like, dude, it's just so different. Right. And she trusted, and just watching her and what her family walked through the first year. Right. of just like things that started hitting their family that she's like, thank God I started doing this. Like, right? Just
Yeah.
that supplemental income. And same thing with Abby. So many of you guys, right? Like I could go on and on about our personal conversations and what this business is going to do for you and is doing for you. But I wanted to give an opportunity to those that were in Utah. And I will shut up because I am out of breath and just like honestly, like still catching up from our flights. And I just trekked in like 20 gallons of milk to my home to like drop off to everybody. So I'm like, get on the call. So I'm going to open it up to some others, but I honestly just want to let you know, truly, I know Erin's not sitting by me, but we literally from the bottom of our hearts are so humbled by seeing each and every one of you ask questions in the team chat, get on these calls, take time out of your day. We know you guys have kids and families and jobs and other things that we could all be doing, right? We have other things that we can prioritize and that take away from this. But Erin and I are so humbled that we get to walk with you all, run with you all, and sprint with you all towards something bigger for your families, towards creating that path that you want so badly, that this we truly believe is something that any of you can achieve, whatever that is for your family, whatever that is that you're looking for here. Like we truly are seeing it every day, on all types of scales, and we're just humbled to be here and assist however we can. So anytime you have a question, we love it. Like it puts our hearts into place knowing that we can help. You're never a burden in the team page. You're never a burden when you don't know something. You're never a burden when something is confusing to you, or if you're just having a down moment. Like that is not a burden to us. That is a delight to us that we can assist and help and humble ourselves in our busy lives to really help you guys just come alongside of us. We don't see our rank or our income as a reflection of something we've done. We truly see each and every one of you on this call as a part of that success that our family has had. And we truly are grateful. So anyway, I wanted to kick it off with that. I have so many notes from this weekend, but honestly wanted to kick it over to the girls that were there. Erin and I had to leave early, and it was like just one of the most incredible things that we were, able to be a part of. The training was definitely next level. So we don't really have an order for this. So I know everyone kind of had stuff to share. Nicole, do you want to just kick things off and then just pass it off? We'll just tag team, pass it off to someone when you're done and just share your takeaways.
So I just think if all of you guys work towards earning new leadership next year, it's so doable for every single one of you on this call, D1 or P1. Starting at the beginning of next year, you'll have a chance to requalify. If you didn't qualify and didn't go in person, you'll be able to go. It's such an incredible event because it's small, because you're 300 people. You really get a great mix of like doing activities together. Like we hiked up the mountain, like a 5,000 foot elevation, the Y mountain at like bright and early. We were on the bus at like 5:30 in the morning or something. And we had like downtime where we could go to the falls. It's just a really different event in the sense that you really get to kind of connect with people and talk to people that are on the same level as you, new leaders that are coming up, and share tips and tricks and everything like that. So I really encourage all of you to set a goal to be able to qualify for new leader next year when you'll have the chance to again, because it's so great. So beyond like having that time, then it was a really great split between motivational and tactical training, because at the end of the day, we all need to be like lifted up, poured into, get our like, spirits filled around like-minded people that are doing the same thing as us. But we also want to learn tips, tricks, and tools of how to grow the business. So for me, that was really my takeaway. I love when it's balanced between inspirational, but also tactical. And I don't know if we're going to be able to get a hold of that video, Justin Prince's closing thing. I think Erin screen recorded parts of it, but I don't know if we'll be able to share that video as a whole into the team after, but maybe we can find that out if we can, because
yeah, Aaron's working on it. I just messaged Ty yesterday, who is his
okay.
videographer. So he's going to
Yeah.
work on putting together a video, and hopefully, since I know Ty, he'll give it to us. So we're
Yeah.
yeah. It
Because-
might just be a minute till he took a lot of video footage. So it might just be a bit.
So that was really helpful just in terms of, really tactical things that you can do in terms of growing your business. But guys, like you all know, in Dynasty, we have the best training. And I just always say, like, to my team, if you guys feel that you're stuck at a certain point and you don't know what's going wrong, what's happening, go back to the guides. Like, even if you start over at guide 1, there's so many like nuggets of tips and trainings and things like that in those guides, that when you're brand new and you don't know the systems and things yet, it doesn't stick in the same way as it does when you've started using the app, the Modere Life app, the Modere app. When you go back through those trainings again, you take like different nuggets of information from those trainings. So I would just say, in terms of like being more, what can I do? How can I do this? That's my biggest tip. Just like go back through the guides and, really I think there's 20 guides in there. So there's so much information in there that you can just keep building and growing a business by going back to those guides and always learning new things. And then, like Google is your absolute best friend, and any question that you have about any platform that you're using, or any question you have about how to make a video or how to make a reel or how do I add sound, or all of those things, are like, Google these days is so great. There's so many great tips and tricks out there for every platform and everything that you need to grow your business right now. That I think that's what we all want the most of. Like, how do we just do this? Like, it's great to meet like this. And like Bree said, know that you have backup, know that you have a community, and we're all here like helping each other and, wanting to help one another. But those real tactical things to do in your business are super important. So I think that was like my biggest takeaway from the weekend.
Yeah, I think that's so important. And like, to follow up with that, and maybe Audrey will go after this. I know we don't really have a lineup. But when we left, I know we had a couple, you guys know Wayne and Bethany, you've probably seen them on trainings and things. They are just such a power couple, raising their kids, homeschooling, they travel, and just lead really from the front with like what they do and with intention. Like, I see them work their business with so much intention, not like, making you dizzy from all, like, I have all this stuff going on. They're just very intentional with their business and with their time. And they mentioned like scheduling. And so we got home, and Audrey, within, I don't know, like eight hours, like, built a schedule and was like, I'm on this. And it was cool to see, because like Nicole said, like, your intentionality of like, you get training and you get boosted up, and it's great to like get a pat on the back and say, you guys are all here and it's amazing and it's encouraging, and like the feel good stuff, but also the tactical stuff of, how do I grow my business? How do I take this to the next level? And so they did a training kind of on what their day looked like and how they started it. A lot of it was time blocking, because so many of us can get just like swept away in the tide of our day. I mean, I'm so guilty of that. Like, my suitcase is dumped out on the floor. Like, the suitcase is put away, but all the contents are just on my bedroom floor. Like, I get swept away by the stuff in the daily. So maybe Audrey wants to touch on this a little bit, because it clearly like resonated. She came home and like made a schedule. And obviously, if you have other takeaways, would love to hear what your biggest takeaways were. But to like create a schedule, that was huge for me, of like, when are you working your business? Because it's easy to say, I'm on social media, I'm scrolling, I'm looking at other marketers and seeing what they're doing, and then I'm getting in my own head, and then I feel discouraged because I could never do that or never have that many followers, and then we get off, and then we beat ourselves up, and then we're not creating, we're consuming, and nothing happens in our own business. So I don't know, Audrey, you want to follow up with that and kind of share your takeaways?
Yeah, so the time blocking training was really great for me. I find oftentimes with these types of conferences and things that it's the things that make me the most uncomfortable that are the things that I'm like, yeah, that's the thing I need to do, because that makes me like wiggle a little bit in my seat and kind of hold myself accountable. And I tend to be a pretty high pace, high functioning, like I can juggle a lot of things, but eventually you get to a point where like natural, ability to like be high functioning chaos only gets you so far until you hit a wall where you're like, no, I need to be better. I need to have a little bit more accountability. I need better systems because I can't just get by on being like the most effective, chaotic multitasker, right? Like literally right now, you guys, I am making pretzels. I have spaghetti squash like dinner I just made. I did a tray bake. My kids, I'm like, don't come out of the playroom till I'm done with this. And I feel super productive, but it's also like chaotic. So that can be effective up to a certain point to where your stress and your balance and your effectiveness in your business starts to suffer because you're like, oh, these systems are hard. I can't do this. I don't have time for social media. And that's where I was kind of prior going into the conference was I was starting to hear myself say, I don't have time. I'm overwhelmed. I'm feeling all these things when really what I'm lacking is realistic systems and structure to offset the things that I'm doing. We recently moved onto property. So we've got like an acre of property and animals. And my husband just moved got a job offer. And so we have a lot going on. And then I'm new to the company with Abby. We joined in February. So within the past 7 months of a move and leaving my previous company and starting brand new with Modere, I was just like, So being at the leadership conference and hearing them talk about the fact that there is a resilience and an accountability that goes into growing your business really hit me in the gut because I was like, okay, I have just been getting by. So they did the time blocking training and it actually helped me a lot. I'm not an organized like schedule person. But it helped me to have some healthy boundaries of like, what does my day look like? Like, what am I depositing into my day? And how am I stewarding that well or not? And actually I sent a picture to my husband. I was like, this is our crazy life. This is our crazy life. But it was also like, oh my gosh, how freeing to see where I am the most effective, where I'm stewarding well. Like it was kind of like a budget for my day. And I liked that because even though I could flex like in between days or time frames in the blocks, it was helpful to help me stay on track and be like, no, don't do that now. You have this, you're doing this then. And it helped me like balance out my day. So that was a huge takeaway. The second thing that I felt like was a really big deal was just being realistic about the resilience that goes into what we're doing to build businesses. Because I really appreciated that, like at a lot of the conference I've been before, they're all about like hyping you up and getting you like really excited and like, you can do hard things. And it's like super motivational. But like Nicole was saying, the application and the honesty attached for Justin to be like, this is how we do business, but let's like narrow that gap of resilience and bounce back and finding what that looks like for us. I think that was huge for me too, to be like, I'm doing the work, we are all doing the work, but what do we do when we're not getting the results we want? Like, do we still keep showing up and being consistent? Or do we relapse and like hit really low lows and really high highs? And that was important, I think, to really recognize is where we're at in that. Are you bouncing back faster or are you really low and really high? And like, that can be really exhausting when you're trying to build something. So he talked about that. And I thought that was really key, was just to be honest with that side of things and how we're pursuing our businesses and being resilient in the work and accountable for the work, but also knowing that a lot of what we do behind the scenes, like isn't going to get noticed. You're going to do 100 reels. And I was telling Aaron on our hike that, I'll end with this. I was telling Aaron on our hike that I remember one night in my previous company, I was doing a reel and I was complaining to my husband and I was like, no one cares. No one cares about this. No one cares about what I'm doing. I'm doing all these reels. I look a fool on Instagram. Like no one cares my fridge pictures. No one cares about meal prep. Like no one cares about this stuff. As I'm like writing out my like caption about like meal prepping and fridges and my fridge and stuff. And I posted it and the next morning I had 8,000 followers. And I was like, what just happened? Like what just happened? And I went back and looked and my meal prep reel hit almost 1.4 million people. And it was a post I almost didn't post. So I don't know who that's for, but if you're like showing up right now and you're like, I've posted this, I've done this, like I've told myself from that moment, I can't control the output, but I can control what I'm putting into my business. And like, don't be that person that doesn't post the reel that could have hit 1.4 million people. Like that is the difference of a really big jump in your business. So that was kind of my last thing I took away.
I think that's so, so important because, yeah, like most of the stuff we do to grow a business and have our success, nobody sees. Literally, nobody sees the conversations you're having. Nobody sees the follow ups. Nobody sees the tracker that Audrey made. Nobody sees the calls that Nicole and I have or the brainstorming, like, hey, what can we do for our team? Nobody sees the tax, right? Like, nobody sees that. But that's so important because that's you showing up regardless of who's online, regardless of the hater, regardless of the aunt that's like, that's stupid, or your brother who says you're not going to get anywhere, or your sister who's like, I did that and that's a scam, right? Like, regardless of those people, you are in a community where you can see time and time again, this works. And so when you have leadership pouring from the people that have done it, the people who have walked through what you're walking through right now, and like there can be story after story. I'm looking at Shaylin, like her first event, right? We sit in the back of the room, but guess what? She walked that stage because she showed up in a different way for her business, right? Like there is nothing special about myself or Nicole or Abby or Shaylin, right? Like we just found a system of consistency. So I like watched Shaylin walk that stage and it was like, she's run other businesses. She's a busy mom that was like, I am committed to running a business. That's how we met, was her other company. She's like, can I show you like this stuff? If I send it to you, will you share it on your Instagram? Right? We collaborated. And then I was able to show her a system of like, dude, the work you're putting in should be creating more output, right? Like you should be getting more for that. And so we showed her a system that worked and it clicked and she got recognized for that. But guess what? There were years of failing behind the scenes of selling leggings and, talking to bloggers that ignored her and like just be feeling small, right? You kind of feel like, what am I doing here? Like there are bloggers that know what they're doing and I'm trying to sell a sports bra and like, who am I? Right. But she kept going and we connected and guess what? She's here and she walked that stage. Nicole and Audrey and Abby and Annette were in person in that leadership room, right? Nothing changed besides a business model that works and systems that are plug and play systems that each and every person, the coolest thing that Erin and I noticed when we went to our very first event, we hadn't sold a single product, guys. Like we had barely touched collagen to our lips. And the coolest thing was seeing that room and people recognized that were grandmas, college students, all different colors, all different shapes, all different backgrounds, winning. When you walk into a room, sometimes of these businesses and you're like, they all kind of look the same. Like, can I really win here? Like, I know you're saying I can. I know you're saying it's a level playing field, but can I? Right? And you look at the demographic of people winning here and you're like, dude, that person isn't even on social media. I don't even know what they're doing and they're winning. That girl's busy in college or she's a young mom or whatever it is. You guys have heard Tug's story, most of you, unless you're like brand new today, like you guys have heard Tug Brooks talk about his struggle, talk about living in his car and his kids living at his parents' house and how he overcame the obstacles working as a principal in this business with zero social media presence and grew from the ground up and is now like in a home that he purchased for his kids, can now have the opportunity to say yes to his children instead of no, right? And so there are people that we just get goosebumps every day, like that person just chose to plug in and be consistent and not quit. Yes, honey. Nicole, you and me.
Add something there, Brie? Yeah. I just wanted to say, guys, like, put your blinders on because like, don't care what people think. You have to go in and focus on you and your goals and what you want. And like, just stop caring what other people think. It comes down to that. And I know that a lot of people find that difficult, but you really just have to like put that aside. And in terms of, if you don't know if the conversations that you're having with people about the product or the business are what's holding you back, start ATMing. You guys all know what ATMing is. Like, whoever your leader is, if you don't feel like anything's going on, like I had a marketer say to me, I'm not making any sales, and she's been posting every single day. And I'm like, okay, what do your conversations look like? let me know. And she's like, what conversations? So if you're not having conversations with people, nothing's going to go anywhere. You have to like put the fear aside and start talking to people, because this business is all about connection and all about talking to people. So if you're posting every day, but you're not bringing any conversations into messages or anything, you're not going to do anything. It's all about the conversations that you have. And maybe you feel like you don't know how to have a conversation about product or the business. That's why our ATM system is there. And that's why it's so good. So start like ATMing with your leader if that's how you feel stuck, you know, and you're going to see step by step how that person gives information for products, or how that person gives information for business, and how they can be your third party validation. Use the system. I find like people get in this business and they want to all do it by themselves, or they don't want to bother somebody, or, you know, we're all here to support you. Like if any one of you messaged me and said, Nicole, can you jump on a 3-way chat with somebody with me? I would do it. You know, like
there are many times we're like, Nicole, you're in Canada. Hi, we have someone in Canada. Help.
Yeah.
like
I don't care that you're not under me and it doesn't benefit me if you're cross-lined to me or whatever. It doesn't matter. You know, everybody, that's what's so great about this company as well, is that everybody gives so freely of their time and their energy, and whatever you give comes back to you. I really believe that.
Yeah.
So if you feel like you're stuck in processes, because like I know Bree and Aaron want us and this team to get like real things that you can apply to your business. Because like I said, it's great to get motivation, but we need to be able to have tools to grow. So the systems are really simple and basic. Just utilize them. Like just reach out to people, message people, get in the team chat. Like I know you guys are good about asking questions and stuff like that, but if it's coming down to like the amount of conversations you're having or not having, like put yourself out there and start, you know, taking your comments from your posts into DMs.
Yeah. Yeah, I know I saw Carly's going to hop on next. I know her and I talk a lot about reels, and I was like, honestly, like I was so afraid to make like business reels. Like I saw people make them, but I was like, oh, who's going to want to watch mine? And honestly, the second Nicole and I started doing business reels and I made a reel challenge, you guys, it's still pinned to the top of Dynasty if you guys haven't seen that. But it is so simple. Like it is so simple. And I see Abby doing them, and I know Abby just had one blow up. She just used the Top Gun, right? Is it Top Gun? Yeah, it was a Top Gun one. And it's like blowing up. So it's like, you never know what's going to pop. And so I know Carly, you had a lot of takeaways. We haven't even gotten really a chance to talk. I know her and I are like 20 minutes away. We're like, we should see each other in person instead of flying to Utah and like hanging out, because we literally have hung out more in Utah than we, although we need to get together with Annie because she's nearby too. So Carly, can you unmute, or do I have to unmute you? Are you there?
Yeah, I can do it.
Okay.
Hey. Okay. So I feel like I came home with 2 words that mean a lot to me. And I love what Nicole shared. That was definitely something that I took away as well, was just the good mix of like, hey, we want to encourage you, but also we want to give you some practical things you can take home and do tomorrow. But my biggest takeaway, I came to Modere 3 months ago from a different company. And this is my second event, because I jumped in right into SRC in March. And this time around, I feel like I came away so amazed at the humility of this company and the vision. Like that to me it's just such a different, it's something I just feel like I'm not used to, and something I was so impressed by. One of the first things that we did, and one of I think it was maybe our first or second session, was when Justin Sarah came out and was like, hey, we've launched social retail 2.0, but we had a few things we needed to fix, and like just putting it out there, like they're listening to us. They care about us. They care about our experience. Like the fact that we are pouring our time and energy in as marketers, and we've chosen Modere. They want to honor that, and like they're working as hard as they can to make our experience, you know, the best it can possibly be, and for us to get the most results out of what we put in. And that to me was just like, cool, like we are working on this together. It doesn't feel like, it's just such a team effort. And I feel like they really articulate that well. And that just gives me so much, what's the word, faith in the company, you know, that things that I'm selling to people and telling them about customer service, like it all just feels like such a smooth, and I don't know, it just feels really good. The other thing was at the end when Justin talked about vision, like I feel like it can be so easy right now with like the times that we're living in to lose sight of like how important having a big picture like vision is. And like when he was talking about his son going to like his what was it, like fifth generation like grandpa, his grave, and like kneeling down and just thanking him for everything that he did for their family. I'm like, I've always been kind of a big picture thinker, but while this business is amazing to supplement gas money or tuition or whatever for people, it's also like has such a potential for life change, like for so many people. And for me, I think that is what like really gets me out of bed in the morning, remembering that there are people out there that don't feel like they have any hope. Like that was us several years ago. And just feeling like the only way to make ends meet is to leave your family and go get a part-time job that you don't want to work and that you hate walking into every day. And like, for me, I don't thrive in that area. So the fact that I have the time freedom to be home with my family and rock on my front porch with my dog and like take on the projects that I want to do, like that's life-changing for me, and that's life-changing for my family. And I know there's other people out there who need that. They need to hear that. And so like, even though like sometimes we're putting the stuff out there into like, we're putting stuff on social media, they're like, nobody cares, nobody wants to see this, they're tired of seeing my college, and they're tired of seeing my business stuff, whatever. Like the right people are going to hear this stuff, and just remembering that they may not hear it if we don't share it reminds me that the work that we do here is a lot more than just collagen and a side hustle. Like, and so this weekend was just such a reaffirmation of that for me. And that is what like really fuels my fire, is that just like that serving and leading with vision. That was so powerful to me.
Yeah, I was remembering, I can't remember who said it, but when Carly and I were sitting there Friday night, and I don't know if it was Wayne and Bethany or somebody else, but basically said, like, you have to look in the mirror and be willing to face the honest truth of what you're putting in. Do you remember that, Carly? Like she was talking about like, it's easy to see the problem and wallow in the problem and text your boss the problem or complain to your friend about the problem. Do you remember that, Carly?
Yes. Was it the dreams over drama?
Yeah.
We were saying something about how like if it's really hard, if it's like we avoid things because they're too hard, and then we'll like project that on to like our circumstances instead of being like, reels are hard, therefore I'm gonna like take a course, or like in that context.
It's like we talk ourselves out of it, and we kind of find reasons why we're not doing it instead of just looking in the mirror and saying, but it, I can learn it. And like Nicole said, like Google is your best friend. I had no idea what social media was. I have no idea still what I'm doing on TikTok. Nicole and I both are like, oh, this is like so foreign. And there's people that love it, right? Like there are things that are constantly going to change. I remember sitting in a conference. I wasn't even with this company yet, and Gary Vaynerchuk was speaking, and he was like, you guys, the next thing is Snapchat. Like Snapchat was like just popping, and everybody in the audience, like, I don't know, it was like 25,000 people like went and downloaded Snapchat, right? Like it was crazy. Like I was like, no, I'm never doing that. I'm not doing that. And for like a year, I did that. Like it was crazy. And I think the thing is like, it's not your end destination, right? Like maybe Instagram Reels aren't where we end, right? What if TikTok is just this year and then goes away? The reality is we all can get better at something if we practice. And like, you have to be realistic of like, what are you putting into your business? If you're just following Carly or Audrey and you're like, well, I don't have a cool little garden and I don't have land or a cool swinging porch, and like, I don't live in Canada or anywhere cool, right? Like, great. Now, like, you can complain. We can find reasons all day long. But once you've assessed the problem, they said spend 5% of your time assessing the problem. Once you've assessed it, you need to spend 95% of your time working on the solution. If you are not where you want to be in your business, you can assess why and then spend the rest of your time figuring out what you need to do to fix that problem. If it's you're not putting enough content out there, create content. If you are not having conversations, you need to figure out how to get out of your own way, like Nicole said, and start having conversations. Conversations are not hard. I cannot read your writing.
It says whatever your goal is, ask yourself if your commitment to your business matches your goal.
Whatever your goal is, ask yourself if your commitment to your biz matches your goal. Right? Whatever your goal is, ask yourself if your commitment to your biz matches your goal. I saw a lot of people making a lot of money in a company, and I sat there and whined why it's not fair. And until I assessed the amount of time and effort and energy and humility I was willing to give to the scenario, I was never going to get there. And the second I relinquished that control and said, I know what I can control. The content I put out there, the conversations I have, the education I bring to the table, the knowledge I have in my company and my products, those things I can control. Right? I cannot control what you all do and how much time you spend and how many customers you have in your customer pot. But I 1,000% can control my attitude, where my time and effort is spent. And that's like mentally also, right? My time spent whining versus problem solving. I can text Nicole and be like, oh, this week, bummer, blah, volume. But instead of sitting there for hours on hours every day saying, oh, volume, guess what? I assess it. We look at it and we go, what can we shift? What can we do? What's coming down the pipeline? Guess what? Axis, OptiPack, on sale. Let's go. Message your customers. Go dig. Who is interested? Who can we message? Who can we share this with, right? Like those things are within our control. If you have nobody commenting on your post, guess what? Probably just new to social media and needing to bounce in the algorithm, meaning get on, be loud, be bold, do a live, just so Facebook says, oh, this person is here, this person is present. You might have 2 viewers, who cares? I did my first TikTok live and I think I had 1 person on. I think it was Nicole popped on or somebody popped on and then off. Like, right, I was talking to myself, but guess what? It sucked. I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't want 1 million viewers. My first reel had no idea what I was doing. I still bombed them, but guess what? No one cares. Everyone's moving on with their life. So you need to assess where you want to be and how much effort you're putting towards that goal. Okay. Who haven't we heard from? Oh, Abby. Abby, are you there? Let me see. Where are you at? There you are.
I'm here.
Hi.
Hi.
Do you want to share your takeaways?
Oh gosh, it was all so good. I feel like you guys got the gist of it, but I've been a leader in a previous company for a long time. And so a lot of the like tactical stuff was really helpful and like helpful to learn new things for sure. But I really loved Wes, or not Wes, I do love Wes, Justin Prince. I'm tired, guys. He came in at the end and there was a line that he said that I thought was so good. And it was, if you had to do it, what would you do? And I think like there's a few people on here who might be newer. I know a few of my newer marketers are on here and it can seem really daunting, especially looking at like the bonuses and kind of piggybacking off of what was just said of like, sometimes we tell ourselves it's too hard to rationalize why we can't do it. It's almost like, you know, when you have kids and they don't want to eat their dinner, so they spread their food around their plate so it looks like more full, you kind of like mess it up. And it's almost like we intentionally spread our spaghetti around our plate to make it look like we have more on our plate that gives us an out in our business. And so he was using the example of like these bonuses, for instance, like if the bonus dropped and it was like $5 million for your next rank up, what would you do? Like, I guarantee all of you would figure out how to hit that, right? Like you would make it happen. And I think sometimes we limit ourselves and like, oh, like I've only been bronze before, like I just can't ever get there. And just like stop and think about what we do. like you can do it. I'm watching people do it. And it was just that good reminder of when life gets busy. And I think that there's a difference between hustling to an unhealthy level versus saying like, what would this $1,000 do for my family this month? Like, am I making excuses? Am I just spending like, how much time do I spend scrolling, watching Nicole's reels, getting ideas versus actually taking the action? There's a difference. I'm not saying you need to be on 17 hours a day, but, and then there was another line that was really, really good. And it was actually from Wayne and Bethany. And he was saying that when he was first starting his business, he didn't have time to do this full time. And that can kind of feel daunting again, because you start comparing and looking at other leaders and being like, oh my gosh. So he was like, I'm going to be the best. If they give an award for the best person who works 10 hours a week at this business, I will be number one. Like no one will beat me for the 10-hour award. I can't win the 20-hour award, but I don't want to come in at the 5-hour award. Like I will rock the 10 hours that I have and use that to the best of my ability. And I think that that is such a great place because we're all at different points in our business. So yeah, I think, and then the last thing was just the size of your dream is also going to be the same size as your struggle, which is the same size as your victory. So we all want big dreams and big victories. And then as soon as something hard hits, we're like, it's a sign, not supposed to be here, confirmation, right? We're like, nah. And the truth is that's just not true. The bigger your goals are, the bigger your dreams are, the bigger the roadblocks are going to be. And so, yes, thank you, Bree. So those are my like little like happy, feely good takeaways, but it was also good. And guys, this business is such a blessing coming from somewhere else. Like, I'm like, if you've never been somewhere else, I feel like you don't know how incredible what's happening here is, but this is something really special. And I would hate for you to not use it to all that it can be. Just because of self-doubt.
Yeah, I'm so glad you shared that because we all want the victory at the end. And it's really easy to write down, I want to be $1 million earner. I remember writing that in my last business. Like, I want to earn $1 million. I want to be recognized for $1 million earner. But I definitely was not willing to take the $1 million struggle. I wasn't willing to get that many no's before I got down on myself and quit. I wasn't willing to get, the ghosting and do the calls that it took to be that $1 million earner. And so it's really, really easy to say, I have this big vision, but with that big vision, accept the responsibility of the big failures that come alongside of it. Abby and I were talking, we have a meeting tomorrow with someone, and it's like, you have to be willing to accept whatever comes on the other side of the conversation, and pray that that person finds their landing place, whether it's here or not. And trust, like Nicole said, like what you put out there will come back to you, right? Like Nicole might get on a call with someone just because they're in Canada. It might not do anything significantly for her in that moment, right? It might be for another team, like, hey, you're from Canada, can you get on and pump this team up? And she might say yes, because she knows that output of just being willing to commit and give and train will come back. Right. And so when you can trust that every person here who has had success, every elite and above, every director 3, every platinum 3 customer pod has had more no's than you have had yet, has had more ignored messages, more blocked people, more conversations and business calls that led to a no. Right. I guarantee you, I have a list that's a mile longer than the people you've ever even talked to that have said no to me, in order to get to the person that was willing to say yes to this business. And I guarantee I've enrolled more people who have given up on themselves and not believed in themselves more than you could ever imagine. In my 8 years in an online business, I have enrolled so many people who were not willing to admit that the struggle for them wasn't worth it. It was way easier to say, this business doesn't work. My upline sucks. My training doesn't work. The posts are awful. I don't know how to do reels. I don't want to be on Instagram. I don't want to find new people. I'm worried about strangers on the internet. It's so easy to say those things. But until you're willing to face that struggle and say, I have to get through that big struggle to get that, I have that big vision and I'm excited and I'm fired up because I went to an event or I got on a call or whatever, right? I listened to Justin Prince and he has me hooked, right? And then you start walking the struggle and you're like, well, this sucks. Like, what if I told you you had to hear 100 no's to get to your person that's going to explode your business? How fast would you go through those 100 no's going just 101 away? And if you looked at it like that, that a no wasn't a failure on your part, but that it was just one step closer to that big victory, you wouldn't see it as a failure. You would see it as the path to success that you're walking out, right? Every time someone says no to me, trust me, I'm like, gosh, I want it for them so bad. But I keep just walking forward and sharing my journey because you never know when that person's going to come back around and say, okay, actually, it looks like you're achieving that success that I said I wanted, and now I'm ready. It took me 2 years for Abby to reach out in this business and say, hey, kind of, okay, not going to lie, I want to do it. Imagine if I had said this business isn't working quick enough. Imagine if I had said, oh, people are just saying no left and right. This must not be as cool as it seems. Abby needed someone to go first. Nicole needed to see that there was a system that was plug and play and like, let's go, right? If I hadn't made that decision to walk through some no's as we transitioned into this business, none of us would be here. And that's your journey now, right? That's your story being played out right now. Erin and I are just getting started, and we need you to trust your process, because the only thing that we can't do for you is that part of it. The conversations, the relationships that you build, right? The foundation that you build. Because if you stop posting for a week, what was the graphic? It was 30 days of work equals little success. Your next 30 days of work equals 30 days of success. Your next 30 days equals 60 days of success. So it compounds, right? So if you're new in this business or you haven't given much effort in your business ever, or consistent effort, now is your reset of like, okay, if I want to be elite by the end of this year, or a platinum black 1 customer pod, or I want a platinum customer pod, whatever that is for you, right? You're setting that intention of that big vision for yourself. Okay. Make it doable, but make it big. Because if you reach for the moon and you land among the stars, that's better than like reaching up to the clouds and just never making it up past, right? So set that big goal, trust that you have the tools in the company to get there and the team to support you. And then look in the mirror and say, I know that there's going to be struggle along this path on my way to victory, right? So I think when you walk away from this call, making a plan, look at your schedule, know that you're going to be busy. It's summer. If you have kids, just telling you now, and if you haven't noticed, it's busy. We all have laundry. We all have meals to make. We all have to eat. We all have to sleep. We all want to do a workout. We all want to do those things, right? So when are you going to work your business? And is that work time that you're allotting big enough to match the vision that you want to achieve by the end of this year? Is the work that you're willing to put in match the goal? Because if you say you're going to give me a 5-hour work week, please do not tell me you want to be celebrated for Millionaires Club in Texas in the fall, right? Like you would never go get a part-time job and tell your boss you're hoping to make $1 million with this part-time job, right? That's just, right? So be realistic, make a vision. And for me, all it took, like when I first started online, was adding up the income that I made for my job. And I was like, whoo, I keep saying we're going to get ahead or like, we're going to take a trip. But like, honestly, like this is it. Like you don't get ahead with this, like even with a quarter raise or a $2 raise or a management shift, right? There wasn't any more. So I either had to go get another job, which I did not have time for because I was a mom and I was giving all of my time to that job, or I had to figure something else out. So look at your job, look at your income situation and say, okay, let me figure out that trip. Let me figure out where I want to be. What does that look like? And commit to that effort to get yourself there. Okay. You can talk to your upline. You can talk to us. We've been having chats all day. I know Erin got on with a couple of you guys one-on-one is talking about goals, right? So go to your upline, fill them in where you want to be and tell them the commitment level that you're at. Okay, so we can make sure it matches. I hope you guys are encouraged by the tips, and like all these women you should be following and looking to just for encouragement and support, right? We've all been walking that walk. And there's just so many amazing women just to like lift you up in this business that want to see you succeed, right? Whether you're under them or not, directly, we all impact that vision together. So I just want to thank you guys for getting on. Was there any questions before we hop off? I know we're hitting that hour mark, but I don't think there was any. Hopefully you guys were able to take some things away. We're going to share, I will share it in the team chat. And then if you're not in like Erin and I's team chat, I know the leaders will go trickle them in. Or if you're on boards, it's actually easier. We can share the boards with the breakdown of like a time schedule. I know Audrey maybe spun off of that, but that's all in boards. So we can share that. The boards app is amazing. So otherwise we can just share those images as well.
Yeah, the walking and victory board is amazing.
Yeah, it's truly incredible. I mean, just the way it's laid out and the tools that they offer.
Yeah, there's so much info in there.
Yeah, so I'll share, or Nicole, maybe you've already shared it.
I don't know if I shared it in your chat.
Okay.
I can.
Well, we'll make sure it's shared, guys, so that you guys can get on that. The boards app is incredible. It has like breakdowns of like schedules and daily charts. Like you need, if you're a person that needs that visual of like from 5 to 8, I work my business, not just work my business by scrolling, but here are the tasks. Okay, work the tasks. I had to do that too, because I am like squirrel brain. So working from an app I have, and I set the timer for 20 minutes and I do one task. And then I take a drink of water, I get up, I walk around, let my brain clear. Like Carly and I are the same Enneagram. We're like, we just are hot messes. We're just like, we want to get there, but it looks a little sloppy. So it's something that I need. I looked at her and I was like, oh, I need to work on that. Like I am not great at that. So anyway, we'll make sure that that's shared, that info. I mean, it's just so many great things in that specific board. So we'll make sure we share that.
Put it in there. I just put it in your chat.
Thank you, Nicole. I appreciate that. Yeah, if you guys aren't on the boards app, like there is just so like a wealth of knowledge. And then I know we said Google and like Dynasty and the trainings, but you guys, the buzz, anytime I see a question about a promo, like I understand clarifications, right? Like I understand we all need to clarify and we're all figuring out the codes and the systems. But you guys, if you just go to the buzz, it's all there. How to earn the trips, what the promo is, the Q&A on the promos, what's included, what's not, how does it, okay, like does Smart Ship, does it double, right? Like all of it is there. Anytime someone has a question, guess what I usually have to do? I have to go to the buzz, confirm, and come back to the chat and answer the question. So that is a resource that I think people just like forget about. I don't think it's even that you're not trying. It's just like that has everything. As far as ingredients are concerned, we actually just got on a page. I don't know if I can add everybody, but if you have a question, that's where I've been finding. Someone had like a collagen question the other day, and that's where I've been finding a lot of our resources. Is David Simony has like, he's like a wealth of knowledge when it comes to collagen. He's been here a long time, and so like worked with Ozma like very closely and understands like the science behind it. Nicole's like a wealth of knowledge when it comes to like the science, but he has a page, so I can basically search anything. I searched protein the other day. Someone had a question on it. And was able to come up with a really educated response, because I know we get hit with those things. So I don't know if I can add everybody in. I'll shoot David a message and see if he's like, hey, mind if our tribe just like, I mean, there's like 30,000 people in there. I don't think he'll care, but I'll shoot him a message. I'll have Erin ask him if otherwise it's a great resource. So as far as those questions, and I know the last thing I want to share, because I've gotten this from so many of you guys, the coffee, like if you guys get hit with like, but isn't the coffee a powder? Yes, it is less absorbable. It counts as 1/4 of a serving. So if you are telling your customers it was created because people were asking for a coffee and they couldn't put coffee in a liquid, so it's powdered coffee with less absorption. So if someone is looking to utilize collagen, I would not share the collagen coffee. It is awesome that it has it in it, but it is not the most absorbed in our body. Does that make sense? So I've been asked that question a million times, like, or, you know, like the person that's like, oh, well, if it's liquid, how do you have a powdered collagen? Like, yeah, well, that's a good point, right? Like, so it's because of the molecular breakdown, right? The peptide size, it's bioavailable, the bioavailability in our body. Okay. So they created a product, they used the single sourcing collagen, but because it's in the powdered form, is not as absorbable or beneficial. Okay. So they created a product because consumers wanted a coffee. It's a collagen coffee. It's not going to hurt you. Is it going to be the highest absorption and the best for you if they're looking to supplement collagen? No. Is it going to hurt them? No. So there you have it. I think I've like gotten that question like a lot lately. So there you have it. That's why we have a powdered collagen coffee. If you guys have anything else, just let me know in the team chats. We're going to be here grinding. Yeah, I'm glad you guys were all able to hop on and excited to see these bonuses roll in. You guys, like, these are no joke. Abby mentioned them, like, look at those bonuses. Set your sights high. Like, these are incredible and life-changing bonuses. Like, you want to fill your gas tank a couple times. Like, this is incredible. So, and be talking about that. Be bold. I know Abby went live on Instagram and talked about the business today. Like, be bold in that. Ask someone in the team chat, hey, I'm too scared to go live by myself. Will you go live with me? And just go live and do it messy. And if it flops, just don't post it to your Instagram and do it again the next day, right? There's always room for improvement. So we're going to wrap it up there. I'm so glad. Oh, Carly's going live after this. Perfect. Yeah. I think just that hype from calls or even little boomerangs, right? And then backing it up with info, education, right? You can do a boomerang and be like, I was on with 24 women, got the down low from a leadership conference, you guys, nothing like this. And then you get on with your face and you share the details, right? Like, nothing like this. You guys need to be a part of this. We just doubled our bonuses for summer. Like, this is something you need to be a part of. That simple, right? And be consistent with that, because someone is going to need to see that 7 to 10 times before it resonates, before it sinks in. Okay. Love you all so much. Love. I know Erin's there with the kids.
I agree. I was dying this afternoon about the lives because like Abby and Jericho went live and I was like, I could do a live. I'm going to go live. And it was like, I started and it was awful. Like I started and was like, this is horrible. And so I literally was like, no, and like literally live. I was like, no, and like stopped it, like deleted it. And was like, we're going to try this again. And so I went live, and like, you know, it was like 2 people on who I like didn't even know. Like,
who's Hollywood?
Don't be embarrassed if you're like,
Erin.
this is horrible.
Okay.
I will give you guys really quick tip on the live. Just super quick tip, because I went with my friend Jerica, and one thing that really helps is if you can team up with someone and interview each other, because it notifies all your followers on both of your accounts. And then it just, with the way the algorithm works, so that has gotten like 15 shares. It's had over 300 views. Like, it's rolling because it got double. So like, team up with someone and just roll it together.
Thing we found too. I haven't done this on Instagram. Maybe Nicole, did you do it when you did a live with that gal? We did a giveaway on Facebook.
I did one with the beauty counter girl. It's kind of good too to team up with people that are like in a similar industry.
Yeah.
And that you vibe with. So
it doesn't have to be a Modere person. It can be anybody, and just say, hey, let's jam on mom life, or let's jam on whatever, you know, grandma life. Like, I'm over there like seeing Linda's profile. She just became a grandma, guys. Congrats. Her son and daughter-in-law are like some of our favorite people from our other business. And we're just like so excited. They've gone through a really, really long journey. And so I'm seeing Linda and I'm like, I hope she's snuggling that baby, or about to. But anyway, I think pairing up, and then we've done giveaways before to just get people on and sharing, like, hey, anybody that clicks share right now and comment shared is going to get entered for a bottle of this at the end of our little live. So like, getting people to do that and learning little questions. Linda, we're so excited for you. So knowing questions to get people engaged, right? Like, who wouldn't want extra gas money? Like, let me know if you'd want an extra $50 for gas, comment gas, right? Or like insane gas prices, like asking people to engage, they will. And it's just little things like that that are going to boost your videos so that your audience actually gets to hear your message. Or giving away something small. Like, if you guys have an extra spoon, I know a lot of you are new and you're just coveting your one spoon. Erin and I have had a couple where we're like, hey, we're going to give away some of these spoons to our customers. Or whether it's a bottle of BioCell or guys, the OptiPack, like, hey, I'm going to send, you know, some of you guys an OptiPack. Cause right now from your customer account, you could send that with, you know, a pretty cheap price tag on it. So anyway, just things like that where you get your audience involved and sharing your video. That way, if you're talking about social retail and you're like, hey, this has helped my family do X, Y, and Z, you can keep it simple. If this is resonating with you and you want to get entered to try this, I know I've talked about it a lot, just click share and comment shared, and I will pick a winner at the end of 24 hours. That will boost your videos. So and then, yeah, just partnering with people. You know, Nicole and I think we've done Zoom calls together. I don't know if we've gone live on Instagram.
We went live in the results room.
Results room. Yep. We
Yeah.
educated on, like, we love sharing about the products and like how we use them. So any type of thing like that you can collaborate. Like, this is not a, oh my gosh, my followers are going to go follow Abby now, or, oh, my customers are all going to go order from Nicole now. This is like a non-competition zone. So like, if you want to go live and you ask Abby or Nicole or myself or Audrey or whoever, right, and like, hey, will you get on with me? Like, I jammed with about, I think, Shaylin and May, probably like 10 girls in one afternoon, because we had a biz op that night. And we were like, yo, and we just jammed for like 5 minutes, right? Like 5 minutes of like, this is something you need to take a look at. So right now would be a great time to grab a leader, grab a friend, do a 5-minute live, pop it on, save it, and get it blown up with like a little giveaway, right? So those are just a few things. Like, that's just like how my brain works, like brainstorming, right? Get out of your box. What can I do? Get out of that funk, find people, right? All right. We went a little over, but I'm glad Aaron was able to go say hi. He's Hollywood. If you guys don't know, I don't know why it's saying that from his phone, but I don't know if he labeled that. I'm assuming yes. I'm going to guess that's a him thing. That wasn't like an automated thing. I know a girl that is not in our downline, but she goes live every single day. And she says it boosts her algorithm a ton. And she'll just talk about different topics, her faith, her business, her kids, a recipe. Like, she'll just get on and jam and talk. And she told me at conference that she's like, oh yeah, it helps a ton with my algorithm. I am not in that season of life. But I'm just saying, if that's you want to pop on live and you've got different topics, and maybe you make a little schedule and say, here's what I'm going live on for the week. Like, what do you guys want to know? What should we jam on? And people will give you, hey, I want to talk about this. Or I know Taylor's not on, but she talks a lot about like women, like PMS, all that stuff, right? Like, if she popped on live and talked about that stuff and products. And anyway, so those are just some ideas. Go get your juices flowing. We love you guys so much, and we're excited. We're gonna try to hop on more as a team. We hate to overwhelm you. And I know, like, Dynasty, and there's so many calls and so many trainings. So we really try to keep it to a minimum, but just know we're here always, willing to get on biz calls with potentials, or like Nicole said, chats. Like, those ad tag messages are everything. We did that for our first full year. I know Nicole did it a lot, like, you know, coming into this, like, hey, can you explain this? Here, I need a video. What do I say? Right? Like, we tag team each other all the time. So anyway, we love you guys so much. Really humbled by just like being here and seeing you guys succeed. And let's hit those bonuses. Bye, guys.